success, especially at that time, was the popularity of my character with another character named Brenda. Sonny and Brenda were hugely, immensely popular. So was Luke and Laura. At that time, that was going on. You know, you have to understand something. At that time, at mental illness, I did Oprah like twice. And it didn't really do a lot. There was still stigma with mental illness. I kept talking about it for 30 years. But only until the pandemic have things changed now with mental illness.
This conversation about building up your blueprint. It's time to take it, cause time is wasted. Go grind and chase it, don't lose it. This generation need integration with information to move with. An inclination that is abiding in entertaining improvement. Yep.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Respect My Blueprint podcast. And today I have a very special guest for you guys. This is a 3-time Emmy Award-winning actor. And, for 25 years, he has played one of the most well-known characters on daytime television soap operas, General Hospital, as Sonny Corinthos. He's also a New York Times bestselling author for his book, Nothing General About It, as well as the host of the hit podcast, State of the Mind, with past guests such as Stephen A. Smith and Country Wayne. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome everybody to Maurice Bernard. Thanks for being here with us and everything. I know life over there in L.A. is not too far from life here in Florida, so we're enjoying the same weather and everything like that, right? Well,
Yeah, I love LA.
Okay, which I want to get straight into it. A lot of our audience is going to appreciate you, right? Because, you were a well-known face in the, early 90s and everything like that with General Hospital, right? Now, most people not aware, you played Sonny, which was like a mob boss or a mob, bipolar mob kingpin or something like that, right? And the crazy part, you also, suffered from bipolar disorder at a young age when you're around, your early teens. And you directed the writers of General Hospital to also have your character play the same mental illness that you suffered from. So, my question to you is, why did you choose, what made you come to that decision to have the writers portray your character the same illness that you suffered from?
Well, the writers came to me. They knew that I was bipolar, and they said that they wanted Sonny to be bipolar, and I said, yeah, go ahead, because I'm a method actor, and I thought it would be, it would be great, and I can get into it. The problem is, even I suffer even to this day of, it's great for my acting, but it's not great for my mental life. It's just it's hard. It's very difficult.
So how did you manage that on set then?
Well, a lot of times I didn't manage it. It got me, but then I've learned to leave it on the set. So as soon as I get off a scene and I go downstairs, go home, I'm listening to music and getting it out of my system. Wow. But look, I've won 3 Emmys on this character with bipolar, and it's just like, even now, this week was a tough week, and I had to yell a lot at different characters and whatnot, and it stays with me.
Right.
And I'm now going to figure out how to get rid of that, man. I'm going to go to a therapist and stuff.
Which, you mentioned that in your book as well, too,
Yeah.
Which ended up becoming a New York Times bestseller. If your book was almost like a memoir where you shared, your struggles growing up in childhood and, you being diagnosed with bipolar. So how, you realizing that at such an early age, how did you end up coping and dealing with that? How was some of the setbacks you had to deal with being diagnosed with
Well,
it?
I was diagnosed with bipolar at 21 years old. I was, they put me in a mental institution for 2.5 weeks, strapped down to my wrists, my waist, and my ankles at times. They'd put you in a seclusion room when you were a bad boy, which was ridiculous. So I ended up escaping that hospital, and then I had another nervous breakdown a year later. I had my birthday in the mental institution. I went
Damn.
from 21 to 20. It's not cool, man.
Exactly. Yeah.
And yeah, it was terrible. But then I had another nervous breakdown at 22, and then I got all my children a year later, and just dealt with a lot of. I had one more breakdown when I started General Hospital, and then I haven't had a breakdown in 30 years, man, because I've been on my
Whoa.
medication. Every time I go off my medication, I have a breakdown. But I've been nervous breakdown free for 30 years. The only thing that gets me now is anxiety and depression.
Wow. But you well, let me build a thought here. So, at an early age though, you were relentless in your approach and wanting to become an actor, right? So
Yeah,
when did that start of you wanting to be an actor as well?
it started at about 20,
20? Okay.
and yeah, but I was modeling and I was not successful as a model. So, and then from modeling, I went into acting, and that's
Okay.
when I had to. That's when they put me in the mental institutions. So I had to get through that, and then, but my mind was set on acting, nothing was going to stop me.
Well, obviously, and the reason why, okay, so obviously you had the work ethic, right? And now, so 20 years old, you decided you want to go ahead and get into acting, and your approach is, balls to the wall. Shortly thereafter, though, you're diagnosed with being bipolar. Then you end up around, correct me if I'm wrong, it was 83 when you got on General Hospital?
Could be 84 too. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, 83, 84, right? So how long after you was diagnosed with being bipolar with your mental illness that were you on General Hospital? How long was that time frame?
I'd say about, oh boy. So I did all my children. I'd say about 4 to 5 years. 4
4 to 5 years.
years,
Okay.
maybe. Yeah.
4 years. Okay. So 4 years, you end up achieving the goal of becoming an actor, right? Although you're diagnosed with your mental illness. And again, what I want to highlight is that you also had the show. Well, the show came to you, like you corrected us, and wanted you to also portray that same mental illness with your character. So, what I wanted to share is, do you believe the huge success of the show is attributed to you sharing your mental illness with the world or with the show as well?
No, I think that, the success, especially at that time, was the popularity of my character with another character named Brenda. Sonny and Brenda were hugely, immensely popular. So was Luke and Laura. At that time, that was going on. You have to understand something. At that time, at mental illness, I did Oprah like twice, and it didn't really do a lot. There was still stigma with mental illness. I kept talking about it for 30 years, but only until the pandemic have things changed now with mental illness.
Yes, I agree. I agree. You
Because
know,
people who look at people that are mentally ill, it's an invisible it's an invisible illness. So they say, oh, it's not that, go to sleep, you'll sleep it off, do this. But I think the pandemic made those people experience it for the first time, and they're like, oh, this is what anxiety is.
Right.
This is what depression is.
Right.
So things have changed. And if you watch on TV, this was never going on years ago, where you see commercials. Every commercial you see on TV, I have. If you're bipolar, if you have depression, if you have psoriasis, if you have sleep apnea, I have it all, brother. It's
Mm.
unfortunate, but it's the truth. But
And
you never saw the commercials on TV years ago.
but you know what you said, and I agree with you that it's a invisible disease, but the numbers are so, are visible. These are real numbers. If you look at, more than 1 in 5 of U.S. adults in the United States live with a mental illness. Nearly
Yeah.
almost 20% of the population suffer from some sort of mental illness. So, let me ask you a question. Although you could attribute mental illness at an all-time high for many things, right? COVID obviously played a large part, social media and things of that nature, right? So, do you believe, although the problem is at an all-time high, that there's enough that's being done right now to help combat the problem?
Not enough, but they're more so than there used to be. And the problem also now is the stigma may have gotten better, but the suicides haven't.
Right. Mm.
You like that, huh?
Right. I mean, that right there was a gut punch right there. I'll be honest with you.
I gotta write that one down. I need to write that one down.
you know, but okay. So you've dedicated your entire life to now mental advocacy and mental wellness now. Okay. Um Let me ask you a question. You're helped transform many lives and everything like that. And, you know, what, how does the average person overcome, you know, well, let me ask you, how does the average person who suffer from mental illness overcome the disease, especially with it being at an all-time high today?
Uh, like you hear, it's the cliche. You gotta You gotta have a therapist. You need to talk about it. A lot of people hold it in. That's not good. You need to exercise. You need to meditate. You need to do yoga. I always say my thing is, in right now I kind of went off it a bit. You gotta keep yourself in first and second gear, because that's where you're calm. You can go to third, which I went last night. You can go, but you better hope to get back to first and second. And don't try not to go to fourth. Don't go to fifth, sixth, or seventh. I was in seventh during the pandemic.
Wow.
Not a good thing, man.
But
Not
you
a
were
good
good.
thing.
You said for like 30 years or so. So just recently.
Yeah, yeah, because by my that was bipolar that I've been good with for 30 years, but
Got
anxiety got me during the pandemic. And for about 4 months, every day I was thinking of ways to kill myself.
I mean, but you're not alone, like you just mentioned with the suicide rates and everything like that,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
and especially in California and LA, witness it. Homelessness is very rampant over there right
yeah,
now.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
which
yeah,
now makes the numbers more staggering when it comes to mental illness and everything, right? So
yeah.
how do you overcome some of the trauma of mental illness? You just mentioned you just experienced an episode, right? So how
Yeah.
did you overcome that?
You stay out of your thoughts, man.
Ah,
You stay in the moment, and you have a short memory. So if you feel a certain way, forget about it. Go to the next. Go to the next thing. Because what happens is, and also, this has helped me also, which is I've really worked hard since the pandemic to stop caring what people think about me.
Hey, shout out to our sponsor, Uptrend Credit. Listen, if you're having a hard time understanding how credit works, or you want a better understanding of how to boost your credit, you definitely want to check out Uptrend Credit on learning how to leverage your credit to hit your goals. Now, Uptrend Credit is an easy-to-use credit monitoring platform that's utilized to help close the wealth gap with the right resources in helping you doing so. So definitely check out uptrendcredit.com to see how you can help stay on top of your financial goals. Now let's get back to the video. Okay, hold on. Okay, you get. We'll pivot though. I want to ask you about, how difficult was it to break into Hollywood back then? Oh.
For me.
Oh, I'm gonna ask you the question. Acting, okay, wait. I'm gonna ask you that question one more time. Okay. All right. Now, Sonny, I want to ask you a question here is, how difficult was it to break into Hollywood back then?
Well, when I got into acting, since I failed at modeling, that was real different. That was so difficult because I felt like I wasn't successful, whatever. And then when I got into acting and had a nervous breakdown and put into the mental institution, I'm like, maybe I can't do this, man. Because that's two failed things right away.
Damn.
But I just kept going. I kept going. And I got all my children pretty quick. Maybe a year and a half later, 2 years.
Okay.
Maybe a year and a half, actually. So then I did that. But it's still difficult after that. When I left all my children, it's very difficult because then you deal with rejection all the time. So, it never stops, man. It never stops. You know how you make it stop is how you think about what it is.
Right.
Now to me, rejection is like, okay. Whereas before it was like, oh, this is killing me,
Yeah, it was a gut punch. Really, yeah.
Yeah.
And did you even have a fallback back then? If you didn't make it acting.
Yeah, prison and death.
Wow. So it was burned all ships. And well, let me ask you: do you think you having that approach played a large part in you landing the role in All My Children and then end up becoming the successful actor that you were?
Yeah, it is that. Yes. But I still had to deal with a lot of pain and stuff, right?
Right.
I couldn't figure that one out, but you're right. It was the drive that I had and the passion that was not going to stop me, no matter what anybody thought. I just couldn't deal with when they did think like that about me, how I dealt with it. It took me a while to learn that. But as far as trying to make it, nobody was going to stop me.
Wow. Okay. Which then, leads me to the next part of your initiative here, which is your State of the Mind podcast, right? Which on the State of the Mind podcast, you interview a lot of the former cast that was on part of the General Hospital, right? And you tap into not only, their personal lives and everything like that, but also, their experiences with, wellness and mental health advocacy and everything like that. So how was it, rekindling with the old cast of, General Hospital and having these intimate conversations with them?
Well, I started State of Mind in the car like I'm doing right here.
Really?
I did that for a year. Yeah, it was just me talking about mental health and talking about my book. And then I did it for a year, and people were like, go to YouTube. I ain't going to no YouTube. And then I decided to go to YouTube, and now it's become this thing. And I love State of Mind because it's just to me, I always wanted it to be like your first date. And you just have a conversation with someone. And you ask them, so where are you from? And they tell you, and then you go into different. That's all I wanted it. and that's what it's become. And some people don't have any mental health when they going on in their life, but they ask me about it and I talk about it. So I always want a little mental health in my show, but and if they don't have any, I talk about it a bit. But it's just about you and me. Like if you and I are talking right here, I'm like, so where are you from? Where'd you live? How many brothers and sisters? Da 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 da. And that's what I want, and that's what it's that kind of vibe.
Okay. All right. And you've used you've interviewed a lot of, dope guests that was on the show as well too, So, let me ask you a question. As your what is the goal for State of the Mind? Is it, to bring about more mental health awareness to everyone, or is it that you're also looking to possibly, add on to it as well too? Like, what's the approach for it?
Well, I'd like to get into a studio and do some stuff. I just don't want it to change the dynamic of the intimacy
Got it.
of what we just talked about before. But I love that I'm able to bring on a movie star, Frank Grillo, uh, Sosa the Ghost, who's a podcaster who looks like he'll kill you, and Stephen A. Smith, Cheryl Underwood, and then a bunch of soap people, and then a police officer. That's kind of what I wanted, man, and that's what I'm doing. Because at this point for me, my goal used to be get the 100,000 subscribers. I got it. Now I just want great stories, man. That's
Right.
it. I go to the story. But if I
Okay.
can get a studio, I would do that because it takes a lot. What I do on my show, my wife does it. My sister's boyfriend is the editor.
Oh,
We're learning on.
it's a family business, right?
Yeah, but it takes a lot out of them.
Right, right.
So we'll see where it goes.
Well, talking about being a family business and a lot out of them, right? Most people don't realize that soap opera set the stage for what we have now is reality TV, right? So,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts about today's generation of soap opera, which is reality TV?
Well, the soaps have gone. They started. Huge ratings back in the the 70s or 80s,
Yeah.
and they've gone. But we have a very loyal fan base that will not. I don't care if you put on the stupidest stuff, they will watch. Man, they're there, and it's amazing to me how they're so loyal. Uh, but I think reality TV. People may think I'm ridiculous for saying this. I think reality TV has upped to make actors better because reality TV, that's real emotion. I know it's set up,
Right.
but between the lines, it's real. So when people watch real, they can see the difference more so now with real and acting. So actors got to get better.
Which you
My
see
opinion.
Hollywood is transforming as is, right?
Yeah.
Now cities like Atlanta is becoming known for filming and production, and there's the
Yeah.
breakup of Hollywood, and also you see even just the industry within itself is going through its
Yes.
transformation. So what are your thoughts about the future of Hollywood?
Well, things are changing. It's a tough time to be because you have. I think movies were affected by the pandemic because
Dramatically.
everybody was. Yeah, and that's kind of a shame because it used to be such a cool thing to go to the movies, but now when you can get that movie or even things like that or better on streaming, it doesn't make the movies that big a deal. That's just my opinion, but I think the pandemic was not good for movies. And I think in
Which
the future, go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask. Well, let me ask you: is that part of the reason why you stopped getting into, because listen, you're a three-time Emmy Award winner. Your show, if
Yeah.
I'm not, yeah, it's in the Guinness Book of World Records, right? And also it's
Yeah.
the
60 years.
60 years, the longest running entertainment program in ABC's history. So the accolades are there. For over 2 decades was the face of soaps, right? So why
Yeah.
didn't you decide to leverage that success or all of that past success and go into different roles such as production, writing, or whatever the case may be? Why get out of the industry?
Uh, well, for me, I always wanted to do other stuff, and then about 6, 7 years ago, for whatever reason, I got a lot of jobs outside of the soap.
Got it.
I
Okay.
did a movie with Mickey Rourke. I did two, Lifetime movies. I played John Gotti. I did my own movie that I produced. And then I realized for myself that the grass ain't greener. And I don't really want to act much anymore. So it's changed the importance of getting a movie or this or that. It's not that important to me anymore. I truthfully rather do GH and State of Mind. And I got other stuff that I'm working on too.
Right.
But that if I could just do that, if I could just do State of Mind the rest of my career and do a little bit of a job here and there in movies or in acting, that would make me very happy. Very happy. I just can't do it right now.
Yeah. How hard? Matter of fact, for all those aspiring actors and actresses out there, how hard is it to act?
Well, if you're a bad actor, it's not that hard.
Well, have you
Because you just
have you come across bad actors in your life, in your career? I'm
oh
pretty sure you have.
so many I can't tell you. But when you're an actor who goes deep and goes in those places, it's more difficult. And then if you're an actor who goes deep into those places, and you're a method actor, like I am, and bipolar, mentally has mental illness, it's difficult, man. Very difficult. Now I wouldn't have said that 20 years ago
Oh,
because
okay, okay, different era
I
right now. Right, right.
yeah, I lived for that then. I loved for it to be difficult. I loved all that stuff. But when you're my age, man, and you've been doing this for over 30 years, um, you, your perspective changes.
Right. Well, we, enlighten us a little bit here. We all hear some of the shadow dark secrets of Hollywood, right? And you have to be in certain conversations and in certain circles, you have to indulge in like the nightlife and everything, the fast life, let's just say. And you know, is that really, is there really truth to that thought there? Is that, or through that, I guess, yeah, I guess to that thought that you have to, be able to go ahead and I guess indulge with the socialites of Hollywood to be able to get in.
Well, I'm sure that's true with a lot of uh, different people, different actors, different musicians, whatnot. Soaps is a very clean job. There's
Oh,
not a
okay,
lot of
a
that
lot
stuff going
different,
on.
a lot different.
Yeah, and I've been a family man for my whole career, so it's been very, very clean and cool and a lot of love. But yeah, there's a lot that goes on in Hollywood. Trust me.
Uh, which, obviously, we've seen it right with the whole Harvey Weinstein and everything like that,
Yeah, yeah.
and other things that's going on and everything like that, right? But to as we ready to go ahead and wrap up the show, you've had a huge success in the soap industry, right? But your main approach, and your main vision now is mental health wellness. So I want to ask you, how do you, what is your objective where it comes to, you know, with your State of Mind podcast as far as helping individuals with your book as well too? You know, what is it that you would like to leave with when it's all said and done on your podcast, as well as not
You
just your
know,
podcast, just the book as well too? I'm sorry.
the way the way to kind of say this is when I first started on General Hospital, before General Hospital, I was told don't talk about being mentally ill because you won't get hired. People will think you're going to go crazy on the set. So one day I decided to do a little article, talk about what I've been through. And I got a letter from a boy who said, after reading your article, it helped me deal with my brother's suicide. He took a gun and he killed himself. And then I said, after that, I'm not going to shut up. I'm going to keep talking about it. And I haven't stopped talking for over 30 years. And that's the goal. It's for me, if I do the book or if I do State of Mind, it's one boy out there who's going to read my book or watch State of Mind and go, you know what? This is making my pain a little easier. That's why I do it.
Wow. If I'm not mistaken, there's several notable actors that also suffered from mental illness. Um,
Yeah, you got Carrie Fisher, you got Rod Steiger, you got Selena Gomez,
Selena Gomez,
maybe even
right? Okay.
Justin Bieber. You got a lot. I don't know if a lot are bipolar. I know that a lot don't speak about it like I do that are bipolar. Kanye West, who says he's not now,
Well,
whatever.
so why are these other actors and actresses are afraid to step forward like you have?
That's a good question, and I don't know the answer because to me the answer is if you're a celebrity, the amount Selena Gomez talks about it. The amount of people that you could help and reach is enormous.
Yeah, but look
So
at but
even
look
if
at well, look at the ones that do talk about it. Like for instance, Kanye West, he gets vilified for it. So do you think that's also could be it that the media just may attack him and label him as, you know, crazy and discredit them?
that's a good question. Um, yeah, but I think with Kanye, I think his approach was wrong. I don't think he owned it. I don't think he owned it. I think if you own it and you say, "Look, I'm bipolar. I've been through hell. This is a very uh, tough disease, but we can get through it." As opposed to he kind of didn't really go, from what I saw, to the places that maybe he should have, and then he said he wasn't. So it's all you know. But I think if he embraced it and owned it, I think people would go with him. But I get your point. It seems like people are like, he's crazy, he's crazy, he's crazy. And those are the people that need to be educated.
Which,
Those,
but if you think of, let me ask you a question because some of the most successful people in history, have a bit of them being eccentric. So you may label
yeah,
it as crazy or whatnot, but you know the it's in the resume of history. So nonetheless, is it really that bad to really stigmatize those as being somewhat eccentric or quote unquote not the norm? Because look at the successful ones. We can go down to, some people say, yeah, Kanye West. You know, most people who's around Elon Musk say he's, a little eccentric. Also, what's the guy? uh, Albert Einstein was labeled as being very eccentric, right? So the list goes on.
Van Gogh.
But so what is the if you flip the coin, what do you say about these people?
Well, I say that if you these people probably don't even care that much, like Elon Musk, what people think, so it doesn't matter. Uh,
Right?
but if you are diagnosed as bipolar, like I am, if I'm the blueprint, you, I haven't been vilified because I've said the truth from the beginning of my illness, and I'm diagnosed as bipolar. So, um, if I went a different way of doing it, I may have been vilified. But I just said the truth about it. I'm proud to be bipolar. Did what I've done, and it's been great for me. So I don't know. I can't speak for anybody else.
Right.
Uh, I don't know. Maybe it's just different personalities, right?
Right.
Why is that person vilified? I'm not. I don't know.
Okay.
Van Gogh was Van Gogh was vilified, and he
Hmm.
cut his ear off.
Look at that. Okay.
He was
Well,
bipolar.
I mean, that's a very good point there, and so the key, obviously, is being yourself and being truthful from the beginning, obviously, which
I think so.
it's easier said than done, though, right? It's a lot easier said than done because a lot of I'm not gonna say a lot of people, just in human nature to put your best foot forward, and sometimes your best foot forward may not be your best foot forward, right? But that's another topic of conversation for there. But to wrap things up, Maurice, what do you got for 2023? I know like this year has been crazy for you. I know you're doing a lot of traveling and everything like that. So share with
Yeah,
the audience what you got coming up for the remainder of the year.
I got. I'm changing state of mind on YouTube a little bit.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Okay.
look a little different. Yeah, it's gonna look a little different. I want to put just Chase's song on my state of mind, so hopefully we can work that out.
Shout out to
And
Chase,
I'm
by the
doing,
way.
and I'm doing 14 shows across the country where I bring merchandise. My merchandise, you go to mauricebernard.com, get my merchandise, really cool state of mind stuff. I'm doing something, and nobody really knows. I'm doing something, I think, next month on, we're going to put it on Facebook, and it's going to be like these little mini movies that I'm going to do.
Okay.
So it's
Like a
going to,
mini
I
series.
got to do, you'll see. It's a little thing, kind of like Country Wayne does.
Okay, all right. I see you getting
and
ideas, huh?
I'm supposed to go to Atlanta and do one of his.
Yeah,
So,
okay, that'd be dope right there. Yeah.
and that's about that. And yeah, that's about that. There's something out. It doesn't matter. There's other stuff, but we don't need to talk about it.
Okay, well, you're definitely staying busy for the rest of the year and everything like that. And glad to hear that. You know, despite your mental illness and everything like that, that you've been able to leverage your past success to now current success because we didn't talk about it, but of course you're married, 4 kids and everything, and also you've been able to go ahead and launch a very successful podcast and initiative, and also help lead the charge in mental wellness as well as mental health advocacy. A lot of people would not have would not have the courage to take the step that you did, right? In a relentless pursuit in a career which more than likely had you have, not been honest, like you said at the beginning, probably your career would have taken another trajectory, right? But nonetheless,
Yeah.
you see, which I'm sure the audience can gather from this conversation, the secret of, being truthful to yourself and being, embracing your truth, obviously can lead to a successful career like yourself. But, Maurice, if you could go ahead, definitely, if you could share with everybody before I wrap it up, where can they follow you as well, too?
Yeah, just go to Maurice Bernard, anywhere, social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, even TikTok.
Even TikTok? What you doing?
Yeah, I got on TikTok. I've done well on there too, but
which one of the kids? Which one of the kids coax you into getting a TikTok?
No, none of them. Just me, man. I do this on my own.
Oh, okay.
My kids are like, "Oh, Dad's doing stupid TikTok." He can't do TikTok, and I'm like, "Yeah, you watch. I'm gonna do it." And I did it. And it's all right. So anyway, my website is mauricebernard.com. And then you can watch State of Mind on YouTube. Maurice Bernard, State of Mind YouTube.
Absolutely,
and
guys.
then General Hospital, whatever.
Absolutely, guys. Listen, definitely check out Maurice's podcast, State of the Mind. Like he's mentioned, it is on YouTube. You also check out, State of the Mind. His whole initiative, as he's mentioned, he has a, multi-city tour that he's into, that he's currently launching right now. So you definitely want to check out his website so you can check out the dates. So hopefully you can go ahead and tap on in. And of course, this is the podcast where we highlight the blueprint of successful entrepreneurs across all industries. Definitely check out our past episodes as well, too, on Apple iTunes, as well as Spotify, and of course on YouTube. Guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Peace. Hey, shout out to our sponsor, Uptrend Credit. Listen, if you're having a hard time understanding how credit works, or you want a better understanding of how to boost your credit, you definitely want to check out Uptrend Credit on learning how to leverage your credit to hit your goals. Now, Uptrend Credit is an easy-to-use credit monitoring platform that's utilized to help close the wealth gap with the right resources in helping you doing so. So definitely check out uptrendcredit.com to see how you can help stay on top of your financial goals. Now let's get back to the video.